So I'm sure we'll have a few more jump on here as we go, but I want to make sure we get recorded so we can share that with those who may miss us today. So welcome everybody for joining us today. It's our quarterly chapter Pro-D update call, and we've invited all our presidents, vice presidents, and Pro-Ds, and anybody else that you thought would like to sit in on our conversation, just to give you an update on where we are with NIGP education in general, and then education as it pertains to you all hosting NIGP courses. So with that, Carrie, I'm going to turn it over to you to do our presentation.
Great, thanks, Jen. So hello, everybody. Unfortunately, Karen is not feeling so great today, so I let her off the hook and told her that I would take the reins and run this particular meeting for her today. So thanks everybody for joining us. Again, this is our quarterly meeting. We've found them, I think we found them beneficial. Hopefully you all have also found them to be informational and beneficial. It's a nice way for us to be able to kind of keep you guys updated on what's happening and also provide a forum for you to ask questions or express concerns. So with that, we'll get started.
Right. That totally makes sense. So I will.
So today we're just going to cover, again, staffing. If some of you are new or just reminders, we'll cover that today to get started. A quick reminder and just kind of run through on how to host classes, sort of the process that we ask you to take to do that. And we'll provide an opportunity for you guys to ask questions. We'll talk about going back to in-person, which we just briefly discussed. Some folks are going back into in-person, including NIGP. We had our leadership summit in September, so we're excited about that. I want to talk to you a little bit about direct deposits for your rebate checks. So we'll talk about that. Pasquale on our staff is supposed to join us to talk about the pathways build and what's coming out in the next few months. So hopefully he'll be hopping on here if he's not already. And then we want to talk to you about something that we mentioned in the last quarter that might be exciting for you, and to just kind of give you an update on our night and evening offerings. So again, I'm Carrie Ron. I'm the Director of Events. This is pretty much Marlena and Karen are my team. You probably know both of these ladies. Karen is our events administrator. She's the one that handles all of the classes, scheduling of classes, lots of other things. Marlena schedules them in our system, confirms them, sends out information. So if you need any help from anybody on my team, you can email us at events@nigp.org, and that goes to all of us, so we can respond to you quickly. Everybody knows Jen, of course, and Todd is our Chief Content Officer. He's not able to join us today, and we had another meeting conflict. I was hoping to introduce Chanda Taylor to you. She is our new content research and development director. So she's my counterpart on the content delivery team, or the content and events team. So maybe next time she'll be able to join us and we can introduce her formally. So this is just a kind of a quick reminder on how you go about requesting courses, right? So this is just sort of a snapshot of our website with some quick instructions, and Jen will make sure that the recording and the PowerPoint is distributed so that you guys have this as a reference. But of course, anytime you need us, you can reach out to us and we can walk you through the process. For those of you who might be new or just need a refresher, you find this information on the chapter section of our website. And to view what you see here on the screen, you click on host a NIGP course, click on that tab, and that will take you to this page where you can go through the steps of figuring out how you go about requesting a course. If you know what you want right off the bat, you can use the course request form to make those requests. And then Karen receives those, goes out to find instructors, gets those scheduled for you, and we'll confirm those once we get them into our database and posted on our website. it's important to know that, we can certainly help you. I think on my next slide here, I talk about, we have a survey that we can send out on your behalf. So please reach out to us if we can help you in any way. If you need some assistance looking at the types of courses, or, you're looking for a specific length of time, like you don't want folks out of the office for 3 full days, but you want to offer a series of shorter courses, we can work with you on putting together a package for a few months, for a year, putting things together that belong together. We can help you with all of that. So definitely rely on us for that. And, it's important to, once we get your courses loaded into our database and on our website, we do a lot of marketing for you, but it's really important that you make sure that the information is on your own websites, that you promote these in your newsletters. And we do have some marketing assistance available on our marketing toolkit page. So you can visit that area and check that out if you have any needs or need further assistance. So just a few reminders. We've all been doing virtual for going on almost 18 months now. So, the turnaround time is still sort of important, regardless of whether or not it's in person or virtual. We really would prefer 60 days for both, but we can turn things around a little bit quicker. 60 days gives you time to promote it. It gives us time to promote it. And we all want you to be successful with meeting your minimums, right? So the earlier you can request the courses, the better, in order for us to get them up and confirmed in a timely manner. I wanted to point out course minimums. At the beginning of the fiscal year, when we sent out your chapter agreements for offering training, we did talk about the minimums. So just a reminder, if you're still doing virtual, which is perfectly fine, we're able to do that. The minimum students is 5. And if you choose to go offer in person again, we do request that you meet the 10-person minimum. Of course, expenses are higher to send an instructor and house them and have them travel and all of those things. So we need a higher minimum for those courses. And they're all listed, all of this information is listed on the website. Don't forget that hosting a course earns you money. So your chapter earns 10% of the gross revenue that we collect for each course that you host and that we execute on. So this is a great way for you to build up your scholarship programs, or build up your bank accounts so that you can do in-person delivery again. Whatever your motivation is, you can get 10% back for every class that you host successfully. I mentioned earlier, don't forget to promote. And I'll also say that, we are continuing to add new content. There's a lot of content out there, so be sure you're, checking out the website frequently. If there's a particular subject matter or topic that you're interested in, you can reach out to us, or you can search that on the website to see if we have that available to schedule, and we can work with you to get those things scheduled for you. Any questions about how you request a course, the website, guidelines? Anything in chat, Jen?
Nope.
Okay. So we're coming back to in person. And we did talk about this if you attended last quarter's meeting. We have had a few people request in person. I think we've only actually executed one in-person event. I think people are still getting adjusted to the idea of going back into the classroom. And, things are not wholly 100% back to normal. I don't know that things ever will be 100% back to normal, but we are excited to be able to bring in-person training back to your areas, if that's what your chapter network is looking for. We do want you to remember that the minimums are a bit higher than they are for virtual delivery. So if you give us time to get those up there, that is preferred, so you can meet those minimums. And we will continue to use that 30-day window, as has been for many years when we were just doing in person. At 30 days, we'll contact you, talk to you about where you are with your registration numbers, talk to you about what other efforts you might be making to try to drive the numbers if you're not making the 10 person minimum for in-person. But the other thing to keep in mind is it's very simple for us to convert a class that you requested in person into back to a virtual delivery. We actually did that with a chapter just last month. We had a few people, we thought we had the numbers, and then we had some people cancel. So we converted it to virtual. So we'll give you this option at 30 days out. And then that gives us an additional 3 weeks really to promote more attendance, get that at least 5, hopefully more, so that you can earn that higher rebate for your chapter by getting more people in the classroom. We do also want to make sure that folks are safe during courses that you may be hosting. We want you to be aware of any guidelines, local, state, federal, all of those things. It's not easy to keep track of them. Trust me, I had to do that when we had our leadership summit in California. I had to understand what was required in certain venues and in the county, in the city, what people were comfortable with. So just, keep that in mind as you're considering going back to in-person. We do ask that if you're in an area that's considered sort of high risk, that you continue to offer virtually until things become safe. And we kind of keep track of, how things are going. It seems like things are okay right now. But we do require you to know what the laws and the requirements and recommendations are for your specific area and for the venue. Keep in mind that the venue rules might be different than what your office is doing or what your county says you can do or can't do. So just kind of be apprised of those things and make sure that folks feel safe and are in a safe environment. I would also say that, encouraging folks to think about room sets, giving people space. There's debate on whether or not it's 6 feet or 3 feet or any feet at this point in time after 18 months, but just, make sure that you're making folks feel safe by allowing distancing, providing hand sanitizer, those kinds of things will help folks feel safe when walking into the classroom. And we want to make sure that our instructors are protected as well. So, we will work with them to make sure that there is a safe environment. Any questions on going back to in-person or virtual or converting?
I just have one question about back in person. Is there any mandates down there about proof of vaccination for in-person type sessions?
No, there's not. The way that I understand it, each host, whether it's a course or it's like your chapters are hosting something or NIGP, we opted to not require proof of vaccination when we did Leadership Summit. And there are some states where it is illegal to ask for proof of vaccination. So we have to keep that in mind. I feel like if we let folks know in advance what we expect of them in terms of their behavior or their behaviors on site. If you want to require masks, that's up to you as a chapter if it's not required in your particular area. But I don't think that, and I think I said this at the last meeting, having volunteers ask people for proof of vaccination is probably not a good idea from a privacy perspective. So if that's something that your chapters are thinking about doing as you return to in-person events, whether it's NIGP courses or chapter events or what have you, there are applications out there that will allow you to have them do that. And you guys don't have to have any knowledge of whether or not somebody says they are. A lot of large conventions in the States are requiring proof of vaccination or a negative test within 72 hours of arrival. So there are people who are doing it, but they are using tools so that their staff and volunteers don't have to get into the nitty gritty of the privacy of someone's, vaccination status.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, we also have 2 questions. Will NIGP entertain hosting a half-day in-person course, or must it still be a full-day course?
Well, I'll say that depends. I would say for the most part, in general, we would still require a full day of instruction. Reason being, the cost for a registration fee for a half day course is much lower than a full day, but I still have to have an instructor travel and be there essentially for 2 days. So the expenses sometimes don't get fully covered. But if there is an opportunity to send someone that's local, it could be, if somebody in Florida wants to do a half day and I've got somebody who can walk right in, drive half a block and come right in, then we can certainly, entertain that.
Okay, 2 more. Does NIGP have a hybrid or will do a hybrid training in person/virtual?
So that's a good question. We've been talking about hybrid, and in fact, as Forum starts to come together and be announced, we will be doing a hybrid event in Boston where we'll have in-person. Sorry, I have visitors at my front door, and of course they come right while I'm in the middle of this. So yeah, we will entertain it, but we would have to talk about how we can stream something from your room, let's say, and get that out to a virtual audience. So if somebody's interested in that, I'm happy to have that discussion. I'd actually like to try it out. So if somebody's willing to pilot that and do that, I would love to talk to them about it.
Cool, and I'll let you know who that is, Carrie. But also someone asked, do you have or can provide a list of those tools for validating the vaccine status? It's something we certainly can follow up with afterwards, but do you have those resources or references that people are using for that?
I do have a couple that I know of. There's a lot of chatter on some of my listservs that I'm on. So let me take a look at, I can send out a list. One that I know, Clear is doing it. If you're familiar with Clear at the airports, I know that they are doing vaccine verification. I work with our general services contractor, Fern, who has an app that works, but I don't know if they're selling it as a one-off, but I do have a couple of names that I can grab off of our off of the listservs that I've seen, and I'll get those to Jen to send those out to you guys.
And just one last thing, John did ask, John Flynn, is it accurate that hybrids are more expensive to do? Is that?
What a loaded question that is. I mean, yes, there are expenses that you wouldn't be incurring if you were just doing an in-person event, right? So think about Leadership Summit. We had people there, we had facilitators, we did keynote sessions, we had our normal AV, we did food and beverage. All of those things are expenses that you incur just by virtue of having an in-person meeting, right? But when you're doing live streaming, even if you don't do live stream and you decide you're going to record some of your sessions and then put it out later for on-demand consumption, you still have to pay a lot of money for the internet to make sure you have the right bandwidth to stream out. You've got to pay for additional equipment in the room. So you're not just putting your standard projector, screen, lavalier microphone and sound system. Now you've got to have a camera operator, you've got to have audio switchers. If depending on your venue, sometimes you have to have their union labor. So there are additional expenses, and it really is planning 2 events. I just mentioned this in our forum kickoff meeting today. I have to have one person managing all of the on-site in-person logistics, and I have to have somebody else working with a team of contractors that we work with to help us be successful with the virtual piece. So it is not just from an economic standpoint, could be a little bit draining on the finances, but it's also a resource standpoint. You have to have the right folks and tools in place to be able to successfully run a virtual event or a hybrid. But that's a good question, John. Thanks for asking. Anybody else?
Nope, that's all I got right now.
I could talk about this all day. This is all I've been doing for each. All right, so let's talk about some fun stuff, money, right? So we have been talking with our accounting team, and we frequently get checks that are either lost, or we send them to the wrong address, or things happen, right? And so we're trying to make it easy on everyone for you to be able to earn money and for us to be able to pay you. So we are working, and we have actually several chapters who have provided us with their banking information so that we can do a direct deposit into their chapter bank accounts. And it's very simple. It's a easy process. The money goes right in. Karen gets the information back from the course, figures out what the rebate is, and sends that request out to our accounting team to get that paid. So if you haven't signed up for this and you want to do that, you can reach out to Karen. She will send you, there's some forms that you need to fill out that allows us access. You do have to provide us with your routing numbers and account numbers. So we want to make sure we get all of that information from you so that we deposit it in the right place. And if you're interested in having that happen, just reach out to Karen and she can work directly with you to get that taken care of.
Carrie, if I can, oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
go
go
on. I just want to add another positive to this. Unlike your leadership roles and positions that change frequently, your accounting probably doesn't. So this is a great way for, while your officers may change or where things get mailed may change every year, this would allow that to be seamless all the time, and not just for rebate checks, for any time that we've had an incentive program or the chapters have gotten money for other things or won awards for percentage of membership or growth or things like this. This just makes it an easy process to guarantee that we get the money to you. Lisa, Carrie, there was a question asked, and I don't know if I know the answer to this. Will a notification be sent prior to the deposit or at time of deposit?
I don't know the answer to that either. Let me find out about that.
Yep, good question.
I don't think it's sent prior to. What our process is we get the rosters and the signed off roster from the instructor that says, yes, all these people attended. We go out, we pull the list of people, what they paid, figure out what the gross amount is, and then take that 10%. And that's approved. Karen pulls all that. That's approved by me to then be paid either through Avid Exchange, which is the paper check route, or direct deposit. So I don't think that there's a notification prior to. I think it works a lot probably like our payroll. I look at my bank account and I see there's a pending payment on Thursday evening, and Friday morning it's there. So, but I'll find out if there's any sort of backup or notification sent from the platform that we're using to do pay.
Carrie, the other thing I think will be key to know too is that we run and cut checks every 2 weeks. And I assume just because it's a direct deposit, that will still happen every 2 weeks. So it's not like every time there's a direct deposit, you get it off that cycle.
So it's a different cycle though. So
okay.
If you're doing Avid Exchange and you want paper checks, which is perfectly fine, it's on an opposite week that we do direct deposits because we use two different systems. We use our payroll system to pay out for kind of our payroll system, but I think it's on opposite weeks. But yes, if you've had a course and it's at the very beginning of a pay period, it's gonna take some time for you to get that payment. All right, pathways. Pasquale, did you join us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, beautiful. So welcome to our quarterly Pro-D meeting. So Pasquale is our, I'm not even going to try to say what title you have. Maybe you can just introduce yourself, but Pasquale is really the man behind the curtain when it comes to the pathways build. He keeps track of everything. He keeps folks honest and keeps us on track for getting out the build. So why don't you just take a few minutes and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Pasquale. My title is Content and Publications Project Manager. That's it. That's what it was. Yeah, as Carrie said, I just get all the Pathways courses out the door. So we have some pretty exciting courses coming up. Using federal grants, specialization certificate is coming in January. And in February, we have advanced evaluation methods, advanced legislation and legal environment, and talent recruitment. And then in April, we have expert program implementation, advanced sourcing and contracting methods, and advanced mission and public benefit.
Yeah, so that's exciting. So if you're familiar with the Pathways build that we started a few years ago, we started with foundations, right? Which is, sort of those competencies, the foundation topics and competencies. And we've got a few specializations. Cloud procurement just came out a few months ago. We've got the IT procurement, we have construction. Federal grants is exciting that we're bringing that out because that's a hot topic right now for sure. And then we're getting into our advanced and expert builds. So, and we're working on putting together some descriptors so that when you're going out onto the website to look at these courses, you can see who the intended audience is, right, Pasquale?
That's right.
Yeah. So there's a lot coming out and it's coming out fast and furious. Next quarter will be exciting for us. But I think if you're just like when this all first got introduced, if you have questions about, what the audience is or who you should be, promoting this to, we're happy to help out in that area. And I'm sure there's more to come for FY23. We just haven't gotten to that point yet, right?
Right.
And if I could just add, Carrie, all these classes, as they're ready for chapters to host, will be on that landing page that Carrie showed on that first slide of 1, 2, and 3-day courses. So as those are ready, those will get populated there for you to then fill out the form and select one of these courses for your chapter to host.
Yeah, that's a good point. And actually, Pasquale and I talked a few months ago, and we had a different procedure in place for getting these out to you guys. We're actually not even putting them out to the chapters for, it's not on your form stack. It's not on the course request form. It's not out there until we've piloted it so that the SMEs can go back and tweak things that need to be tweaked. We've had some situations where we built a course, we thought it was going to be a 1 day, but when the subject matter experts got together to build the content, they were like, no way, we can't do this in 8 hours. It's going to have to be a 2-day course, right? So we ended up having to shift things around. So you won't even see these until they've been piloted and are in tip-top shape, ready to go. Any questions on Pathways? Other questions about stuff that's already out while we have our subject matter expert on Pathways?
Yes, Carrie, is there a fee for the deposits through Avid Exchange? I don't think there is.
No. Mm-mm. No, it's just,
And if you're seeing something, let me know.
Yeah, it should all be covered through the fee we pay them to pay you.
Correct. So if there's something that's showing up different, Drew, email me and I'll put you in touch with finance to see if there's something incorrect with that.
Okay, yeah, our treasurer just mentioned that there was a fee for that, and I thought that I had heard otherwise, so I will.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Definitely,
Yeah,
and tell her about the direct deposit as well, because that will certainly alleviate any of that, but there should not be any fee on the chapter end for using Avid Exchange and getting those checks.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any questions about Pathways? All right, well, thanks, Pasquale, for joining us and letting us in on your great programming, scheduling, and getting that stuff out. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
So we talked about this last month. We heard from some, well, I won't say we, it had been said that there were some comments made about folks having, being stretched for time. We're all stretched, right? We're working at home, we're working longer hours, we're trying to manage families. all of these things and things starting to kind of come back where folks are heading off to the office. But we're all still stretched for time. So we decided that we would consider offering courses at alternative times. Most of our courses you'll see are scheduled Eastern time. We do have had some flexibility where with virtual, and you'll find this if you've hosted courses, sometimes I look at the roster and there's not one person from your state and they're all from someplace else, but you still reap those benefits, right, from those registrants. So that's the beautiful thing about virtual. But, you know, we've talked to a group of our instructors who kind of came together to help us figure out what content would be good to put out there in an alternative format. And so we have begun a pilot program, and some of you I know did reach out to us after the last meeting. I'll ask you again to either reach out to events@nigp.org or put it in the chat and have Jen record if you're interested in doing this. So our first nighttime pilot is November 18th, which is this Thursday. And that's running from 6 to 10 Eastern time. If we have chapters on the West Coast who want to look at this, we can do West Coast time for you. And that, you know, means that somebody on the East Coast might be able to do it, but it's going to be really late at night. Right. So, but we are doing these. We've got a small, listing of courses that we're doing this with, but it's literally, we could do it with any. It gets a little tricky when you've got multiple day courses, right? So we do have, I think, one Saturday course scheduled. It's a 2-day course certificate. So students will attend on 2 Saturdays. So it is a commitment, but if any of you have gone to night school for college or you're studying for certification and you go to study groups, you know, these things usually happen outside of your normal workday. So we are going to see how successful it is. We have our first again on Thursday. We have several scheduled through January. But if you think that your members would be interested in this and it's something that you want to entertain, we would be happy to talk to you about that. Right now, we are just doing this for virtual offerings. Not to say that we won't make adjustments if necessary, but it is tough unless you're going to do a weekend course, Saturday, Sunday for a 2-day course certificate. We wouldn't be able to split that over 2 weeks time. So, but we're finding right now we're being flexible with a lot of things. So if you're interested in trying something different, let us know and we'll see what we can do for you. Any questions about that? All right, well, here we are at the question part of this presentation. So I have nothing else to share. We did feel it was important to continue to have these quarterly so that, again, you have an opportunity to ask questions if you need to, or to talk to each other about things that you're doing and successes. So does anybody have any questions or things that they want to share?
Carrie, I had a question about content that I messaged Pasquale because he did drop off. I'm not sure if you know it or not, but would we be releasing any advanced negotiation courses soon?
Nothing is planned.
Oh, there he is.
Hello. Yeah, nothing is planned at least until July for right now, but that could change. You know, definitely let us know, you know, what it is that you guys are, you know, wanting more content for, and we'll definitely consider it. And, you know, the more we hear about it, you know, the more likely it is that we'll create a course for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we get a lot of input from our content management committee, who is a group of your peers. But if we hear enough demand from membership, then, you know, we can get those in the hopper. We do have a new series that we're calling the Headliner series. That announcement will go out tomorrow. It's basically 4 short, hot topic kind of things that we're doing. They're all virtual. The first one is on federal grants in January. It's a 2-part thing, but we do have a 2-part, I believe, in March, negotiations headliner coming out. And that's not something that you guys can host as a chapter, but if you hear people saying, hey, I need more negotiations, and we don't have something that satisfies that need, that is something that's coming out, and that announcement will again come out tomorrow. Anybody else have any questions, successes, concerns? Anything to share? Quiet group today.
It was quiet today. I think you were very thorough, Carrie.
I've done this a few times. All right, well, I appreciate everybody's time. Sorry Karen couldn't join us today, but I was happy to fill in. So if you do need anything from my team, or you've got questions that you think about after the fact, and you can reach out to Jen, you can reach out to myself or events team, and we're happy to help you schedule courses. Think about, you got a new year coming. If you need some thinking about getting your first part of your training calendar for your chapter together, we can help you with those surveys and give you some ideas to help foster that that scheduling. So happy to help. We're here for you.
Carrie, thank you. And for all those that asked about the PowerPoint, as soon as I get the recording downloaded, I will send it over to our webmaster. We'll get it posted, and I'll send everybody a link. I'm actually sending out Leaders in the Loop this week, so I'm going to include this. It'll be perfect timing, so you can hear the recording as well as download the PowerPoint.
And I'll look up those names of those.
Oh, great. And I'll include that in Leaders in the Loop, Carrie. If you can send those to me, that would be wonderful.
Okay. And yeah, if anybody, I know you guys are thinking about getting back to your conferences. If anybody has any questions about what we're doing, or, you just are stumped on what to do and you just need to bounce some ideas, I'm happy to talk to any of you about that. So just let me know if you have some questions or things that you want to talk about. I'm happy to help.
Thanks everybody for your time today. And Carrie, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.